We need to put some HOLDO maneuvers.
This is where the fun begins.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the HOLDO Maneuver podcast. With me, as per usual, and as always, is Mr. Michael Soren with the J somewhere beneath me on the screen. And then somewhere, but not below me, but somewhere to some other part of the screen is Mr. Stanford Clark, who's usually my co-host over at Animation Fascination. Welcome, Stanford.
He's also in a galaxy far away.
Yeah. He has a low M count, as per what his headline says. But welcome back, Stanford. You also joined us for our Fan Fusion panel. For anyone that watched that episode too, that is also available for people to check out. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. It was
goofy.
Yeah. So before we get into it, I know Mike has a question for me and Stanford.
Well, what did Hemlock finally say when he figured out how to successfully clone a human?
What did he say, Mike?
The doozy. He said, "I'm beside myself."
That's right. And yeah. So if you haven't joined us before, like I said, I'm Mark. He's Mike.
I am.
We're two hardworking dads trying to fit Star Wars into a very busy lives. And each week or every other week, or kind of on an intermediate schedule. But right now, when the Acolyte's on, we'll talk about a galaxy.
We will be here.
Yeah, we'll actually be here again in another day or so.
Bad Batch.
Yeah, this is our part 2 of it. We did part 1 of it with our friend Michael Lee a couple months ago in March. If you have a problem,
that's what we're talking about. A-Team in space.
Shout out to the A-Team.
You have to say it like
Mr.
that.
T.
Well, I think Wrecker would be Mr. T, or would he? I don't know. Maybe Mr. Wrecker would be the Mr. T equivalent because he's like the muscle. So
I don't recall much.
That's Pity the Fool, that doesn't do whatever.
Yeah. But anyways, Liam Neeson was in the A-Team movie, so there you go. It brings it back to Star Wars.
It was all coming together, Mark.
Yeah. So this is for episodes 8 through 15. And like I said, we had Michael Lee on for episodes 1 through 7. And yeah, so this is basically just going to be us covering the last half of the final season of the show. And I guess before we kind of break it down episode by episode a bit, what did each of you think of like this back half of the final batch of episodes of the Bad Batch? We can start with Stanford and then Mike, and then I'll finish off.
I've liked the Bad Batch. I thought it's been solid Star Wars storytelling. Some of the animation in the Clone Wars I just didn't love, but maybe I'm just used to it now. So I thought it looked good. The voice acting was fantastic. I thought the episodes were paced well. Just solid adventure, and I was really happy how it all came together. So no complaints from me really overall. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
So now that they went away from the A-Team in space, it was very enjoyable for me. Yeah. Prior to that, I did not really enjoy it. But this season was, if it was like this throughout every season, I think this show would have been a lot better. That's my opinion. I can't get over the fact that Omega turned into what's his face from Team America World Police, because that's what she looked like. The main character there, who
that's a good point, Mike.
I'm sorry. Like I can't unsee it. I will pull up a picture.
No, I can't unsee it either.
Omega.
Yeah. So this season, definitely towards the end, they're just like, okay, let's set this up so these people can be in a movie or something, as like an appearance or something. It's coming. It's going to happen. Whether we like it or not, it's going to happen. They're going to show up somewhere else, live action, animated, somewhere. But this season, I enjoyed it a lot more than the first two because it had a centralized story about them it wasn't them taking on these tasks to get paid. It was, okay, Omega's been captured. We got to rescue her. That was better for me than, okay, let's do this for you. Let's do this for you. Get this money. Let's do this. Let's get this money. Let's get A-Team in space is all I can think of.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. This season definitely had a more kind of, I guess, more of a spine of a story that went through the entire course of it. Like it had more or less had its season long antagonist in Hemlock as kind of like the big bad for the season. It did a thing like where like it started the season with Omega and oh wow, I'm blanking. And with Crosshair, like trying to escape from Tantiss, and then with the it's like poetry. It rhymes. Like the cyclical nature, they came back, and so it's like a circle. I liked how that kind of had that circular nature to it, and they made it back there to have all the other clones escape from the plant there. But yeah, just because of it having like a more kind of defined spine to it, I think that helped the narrative structure of this one too. And it started in those first few episodes kind of still with doing like the A-Team in space, and like with you and saying that when D. Bradley Baker was here in Phoenix for the Fan Fusion for his panel, well, first he like came out and he's like, the cavalry has arrived, which
he did.
that would remember you guys, what the finale of the episode was called?
Yeah, isn't it?
Whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh. Whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
It was looped.
I know.
Swooped and alley-ooped.
Because Leo had a break in there. So what were you saying?
Is Stanford there?
Oh, was that me, or was that for? Are you talking to mine?
Yeah, I said
no,
Stanford.
talking to you.
No, the cavalry has arrived. Isn't that the name of the episode?
Yeah, that's why Leo he's like, oh, I gotta break in. I gotta do the thing. I gotta. But yeah, I liked the narrative of this season a lot. I think like with all of like any Filoni produced, at least for like the animated shows that he's worked on, they kind of grow up with each season. So like each season usually gets progressively darker. I mean, we had a whole episode in this back half of the season that was like about like child trafficking. And so I'm like,
I mean, what?
Well, I mean, that's true. But like by the end, I was like, wait, so does that like that baby has no idea where it came from? How are they going to find out where to bring that baby back? And I mean, go to Chili's.
Check the receipts.
Like the older kids, like they probably have like a little bit better of an idea where like they lived, so it'll be easier, I would hope, for them to find their way home. But like the baby is like, what do they do? Like
they just introduced Joe Dirt into Star Wars.
I don't know. That's Space Peanut.
Problem solved.
Yeah, just give the kid some peanuts and be like, that's Space Peanut. But so here's like a good kind of like general synopsis summary of like this back half of the season. So in the thrilling second half of season 3, the Bad Batch investigates the Empire's sinister M-count experiments, leading them to cross paths with bounty hunters and old enemies. The team splits up, with Hunter and Wrecker seeking information from Fennec Shand and Omega, helping Crosshair overcome his mental block on Pabu. They later encounter Asajj Ventress, who tests Omega's force potential and warns of impending danger. As the team discovers the Empire's cruel experiments on force-sensitive children, they face intense battles and daring missions. Omega is captured and taken to Tantiss, where the Bad Batch must infiltrate the heavily guarded facility with the help of old allies and a rampaging Zillo Beast. So also really quick there, if people have watched Clone Wars, you're gonna recognize the Zillo Beast. So, and if you haven't, there's literally an episode of the Clone Wars that has Zillo Beast in the title, so it'll be easy for you to find. They rescue the imprisoned children and destroy the facility's data, and then in the final showdown, they defeat the sinister Dr. Hemlock and escape to safety. The season concludes with a flash forward of sorts, with Omega and the Bad Batch finding solace on Pabu as Echo and Emerie vow to continue fighting for clone rights, setting the stage for future rebellion against the Empire. So we also had another person lose their hand to a sword.
Yeah.
Which is a Star Wars thing, you know. So you gotta have, someone's got to lose their hand to a sword, and I mean, he was having issues with his hand, anyways, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like baby back chilies,
Baby back chilies.
But yeah, I mean, so we saw Fennec Shand again. We saw Asajj Ventress in this, and then we saw Cad Bane. Which, man, if you thought Cad Bane was like a douche before, it's just a fact that like he's definitely like a child trafficker in this. Is like, god damn, man, you suck.
Yeah, he is.
Spoiler alerts for Book of Boba Fett. I'm glad that the Boba Fett knocked you the F out. And by knocked you the F out, I mean killed you. Which
is he dead though? Is
maybe.
he?
Well, good question.
I do kind of wish that Omega had met Boba at one point, because they were like the similar non-accelerated
Omega
age.
Or
I mean, that's what Boba would have looked like.
That's what she looks like, and I can't unsee it. Now, no one can unsee it. I'm gonna.
I did like that they had. I did like that they had Daniel Logan come back to do the voice of the younger clones that we saw again here on Pabu too. So that was cool.
Yeah,
they didn't let Tomorrow just speak in a high pitched voice.
Kill him, Dad. Kill him.
Yeah.
I'm Jango Fett. Boba Fett. I'm a clone.
Nope. And there's no sonic charges to set off, so we just kept moving on the way
that went off every episode, just so we can hear it.
I know.
I mean,
right.
Yes.
But yeah. So Omega looks like Chris Pine.
Hey, if Chris Pine looks like a dumb puppet, then yes.
Omega.
Boop.
It doesn't. I was gonna say that doesn't translate as well as Matt Damon. So episode
Matt Damon.
Episode 8 of season 3 was called Bad Territory. That episode was one with Fennec Shand, and that one was desperate for intel, Hunter and Wrecker tracked down a dangerous bounty hunter. And so that I believe, that's right.
There's a dangerous bounty hunter.
Yeah. 309 was the Harbinger, and then that one was as the Batch plans their next move. A mysterious stranger arrives, and that was Asajj Ventress. So that was one of the questions I had. If what you guys thought is Sylvie is not happy with what's going on. But they kind of set up like this whole thing with Omega, having some kind of specialty with her M count. They never really specified what it was, other than like she was more prone to be able to take, or like receive like the M count as a clone, and like none of the other clones that had that, like, they were trying to experiment and give the midichlorians to, let's just call the M count what it is. It's midichlorians. Because Podrick Necromancer is essentially the quote somehow Palpatine returns. So it's implied that like she has like some kind of higher M count, but beyond like the training that Asajj does with her in here, we don't really get any more beyond that with that whole kind of story. I didn't know if maybe we would see like more of that, maybe like later in the season, maybe in the finale, like she'd have some kind of like, I know like the Force doesn't really have to show it's like the same way in each person, and it's been said within the Star Wars films and TV shows that like basically everyone has the Force, just like everyone has like an innate ability to do something, but more people are just have a built-in talent to be better at it. So even though you may have access to the Force, you just might not have enough inherent talent within you to be able to call that cup across the room to your hand.
You're just a janitor of the Force, or a guy who scoops poop of the Force.
Yeah, you have to clean up after someone that's taking the 10-year vow to just meditate and float in the air. But
I have a question for you guys while we're talking about M count.
Yeah.
I have not watched Clone Wars or Rebels, admittedly. Do they refer to M count in Clone Wars or Rebels?
M count is like a new term.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like they're afraid to say midichlorian. Like this is their way of being like, oh, it's not that type of music anymore. It's this. It's not midichlorians. It's that.
Yeah, it's Boba Fett's starship. It's Jat's music. It's M count. It is interesting.
Trying to force it.
Huh?
I thought it was like kind of like a code, like I mean, they could have just come out and just said the word, but anyway, not like a secret code or anything, but I think we all knew what they were talking about, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's quite obvious.
Midichlorian is kind of like a mouthful to say all the time. So I mean, it's probably like the same, because I mean, most of the times it's said, at least within this show, it's like within a scientific or like medical related conversation, where like it would be like, oh, your white blood cell count or something like, or like like hematosis, or not helotosis, but hematosis. But so like in the way that's like, I feel maybe that's just like how it's like the scientific way of talking about midichlorians is talking about like the M count for it. So that's the only way I could kind of
Jedi fluid or something strange.
Jedi fluid.
Yes.
Jedi urine sample.
I just don't think that. I don't know. I feel like the Empire would have called it something Jedi, not M count.
Maybe.
But maybe they're just the Kaminoans called it M count, and that's why they went with it.
Yeah. So Collins here in the chat said maybe I'm biased, but I never had an issue with the concept of midichlorians. Makes sense.
Oh, I don't either.
Manifest. Oh yeah. I don't think any of us do, and your comment's so large is covering up Mike's face. But
it's better than what Gustavo's been getting covered with.
Take a drink.
Read through the chat.
Mike. Take a drink, white.
Read through it's not white. The glass is just faded.
but yeah. Anyways, so I don't know. Like I thought maybe like they would come back to that eventually, or like it would maybe just be more of like more of a theme to, or I don't know. It felt like more of like a smoking gun kind of thing, where it's like, or like they introduced the fact that she had some kind of higher M count, and then I thought that would maybe pay off in some way other than it was just being used for like that's why Hemlock was trying to get her.
I'm just curious because she's obviously a clone modified from all the other clones. So the Kaminoans figured out how to inject metachlorians. And now it's just...
At least on her.
Right. You'd think that somehow that information would have slipped and come out.
Nope. It died with Namaste. Namaste. Yeah, and every time I say her name, I just think of Michael Jackson.
Namaste, Namaste, Mamakusa.
Yeah. I think it would have been funny if all the Kaminoans were like named different parts of that. Of
that phrase.
It's like, I'm Namaste, he's Namaste, I'm going to say. And they just sing a line and be like, so I'm going to say the same, not stop. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, I liked that there wasn't any redemption. Do you remember what his name was? Like the dude that they had a breakout with the
Rampart
beard. Yeah, Rampart. Where like I liked that there wasn't any kind of redemption for him. Where like there could have been, but like no, he's still like he was always still kind of in it for himself. Like
exactly, he had it coming. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that like that was already Namaste's plan. Was she was gonna do that anyways. Like her plan was to just go down with the ship to make sure that stuff blew up, because she more or less, I mean, he did pull a gun on her, but she already had that detonator in her hand. So I'm pretty sure that like, and the way that she talked to Omega before she went in there, like that was like saying goodbye to Omega. And I liked this whole back half of the season 2 with Omega, like after she basically turns herself in to get brought back to Tantiss. And that when she's there, like you see, like just see how much that she's learned from her brothers, her brother fathers, just because of like, you know, like she essentially becomes the hunter, of the group of child trafficking kids there in that room, and like the
captured,
like
captured,
like the nursery from hell kind of thing in there. It's like THX 1138 meets like daddy daycare or something like that. But yeah, like she's able to figure out like all this stuff that's like back, like the series of pneumatic tubes back area. Like she was able to get in there, and since they're like small kids, they can fit behind like all of like the paneling in there and stuff, just because they're like just the right size to kind of fit through the vents. She John McClane's it and finds all this stuff in there. That's right. And then she basically like, you know, you can see like how how sure of herself she is. She's like very focused about this, and is reassuring all the rest of the kids in there and how she's going to help them out. So I just thought that was cool. I could see like this arc that Omega's gone, especially if you go back and see like Omega like in episode 1 of season 1 of the show, and where she is there. Besides her having the, you know, the head dress on and having the super short hair, to like now where she's got like the longer hair and it's like pulled back and stuff. No, not like that. But speaking of that, when they had like that denouement with Hunter and her, where she's like fully grown, and it's like during the time of the rebellion, so it's like either just before 0 BBY or it's like 1 BBY or something like that.
Half BBY.
Yeah, but it's still the same, like it's she's still doing the same voice for Omega. Like I don't know, like I guess maybe it would stay pretty similar, but I feel like it would have changed like a little bit as she got older, right? Like it wouldn't sound exactly the same as 12 or 14-year-old.
Where's Bonnie when you need her? She can explain this. We need voiceover.
Exactly. Here. Right.
I mean, did you guys bump up against that at all?
It didn't bug me at all, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, didn't notice it. I don't know how old Omega is supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I figure she's supposed to be like before either like late teens or 20 or something by that point. Or she's probably a little bit younger than that. I don't know, because no, she's probably past 20 because she would have been born before like Ezra and Luke and Leia, and they're 19 in A New Hope and around that time period, and she was born
or grown
grown before them. But I mean, yeah, that scene was really good. I enjoyed that a lot, especially it's they had the father-child vibe to it, and like even though Hunter was outwardly like telling her like he was going to be worried about her and stuff, like he's like, she's got this, and I know she's going to be good.
He raised her right.
I'm also curious,
because
Hunter's so downtrodden and like beat up and clearly aged. Like, did they not factor that into these clones? Like, let's rapid age them and then stop aging.
Well, because I know even watch Rebels. So in Rebels, they meet up with Rex is in that.
Rex
and if Gregor. I don't remember who the third clone was, but like they've got like big bushy white beards in that and stuff. So like,
yeah, I've seen the pictures. I just curious to why there was no forethought putting into this cloning process. Like, oh, let's keep these guys from aging to past a certain point. That way we have more resources longer.
I weren't thinking about that because they just wanted to use them for a very specific reason. Palpatine was like, I just need these disposal, because you saw like how through the show like how ready it was to just be like, nah, I don't need the clones anymore.
I know,
we'll just use humans to like
curiosity.
But yeah. You ever think Hunter took Omega camping? Would it be a hunt? I see that reference that you're doing there. Yeah. Look up Hunter Camp on the internet, then you guys will all see the reference that he's making there. I know our sometimes editor Vactor will appreciate that reference that Gustavo just made. But I don't know. I mean, I only slightly bumped against that because they made like a point of like she wasn't talking for like a good portion of like the whole denouement, and then she finally does. So I thought maybe they were like building up to it, like her having like a somewhat different
talking like this. Like some random.
I mean, she's the only one that has like the actual like Kiwi accent. Like, I mean, D. Bradley Baker's doing pretty good on there, but he doesn't like have like the
real authentic, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have the Tamara Morrison
native
Kiwi accent.
Yeah,
but,
I don't really get it from Tomorrow in the show. Maybe I'm not hearing it, but
I don't know.
When he spoke, I don't remember him having a thick accent.
Too busy being a dad to Aquaman. But
and
so
Moana.
That too. But we also like the episode 2, like the one that I kind of already alluded to, but like the child trafficking one, the episode 10 Identity Crisis, with like that episode entirely focuses on Emerie, and it just like shows like how well like some of these characters we might consider like side characters, and like Emerie is essentially for all intents and purposes a older version of Omega. So that's kind of why, like, I thought maybe like older Omega would just sound like Emerie, because Emerie is a female adult clone.
I mean, you got to look at
well,
it in the same
Jane.
vein as none of the Bad Batch sound the same. So it's they're like, okay, this gene is Kiwi accent. There you go.
I have to look it up, but I wonder if Omega is also Emerie, like as far as
Actress.
Actress voicing her.
Yeah, I was going through that. I don't.
I'll let you guys look that up. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just liked how, like, you can have like an entire episode where it focuses on Emerie. It doesn't have Omega in there. It doesn't have the Bad Batch at all. And it's still captivating. And it's like, I think it's one of the best episodes of the season too. Just so like, it just shows like how well written like a lot of the characters were on the show. And then just how big of a douche Cad Bane is too. He's literally a Cad. That's why his name is Cad Bane. But I don't know if either of you found who did the voice of. I know. I think it's like Michelle.
Keisha Castle Hughes is Emerie.
Okay, but I think Michelle Ang is
Omega.
Okay, so then no, it's not the same person. Interesting. All right. Well, so and then 311 is Point of No Return. The Empire closes in on the Batch. That's the one where they find him on Pabu. 312 is Juggernaut. Insert Vinnie Jones here. While seeking an unexpected source, the Batch must make a daring escape. 313 is Into the Breach. The Batch prep for a gambit in enemy territory. Flash Strike is 314, where the odds are against the Batch as they operate behind enemy lines. And then 315 is the Cavalry has arrived, with Omega and the Batch battling Imperial forces for their freedom. So like in some of these episodes, like it, even though there is like the last episode was like what 50 minutes or so, it feels like, even though that's technically the series finale, it feels like from I want to almost say like from Juggernaut on, that basically feels like, yeah, I'm the Juggernaut. From Juggernaut to, like from 312 to 315, that feels like that's the series finale, just kind of like pieced out through there. Not like pieced out like, you know, peace out, but like pieced out.
Kind of did.
Kind of, sort of.
Hunter was just like, I can't stop you. Bye.
Yeah. I did like here in the finale too, where like Crosshair was ready to sacrifice himself. You keep seeing him doing like this with like gripping his hand, which I mean, like I said, they did him a favor, I guess, cutting that hand off, because he was already having issues with it anyway.
He was having all these issues, yeah.
Just cut off the thing at the source. So there you go. No more issues with your hand because you don't have a hand.
And it didn't look like gun limbs, like death proof or whatever.
I mean, you could have like a, you know, like the droid insert probe, like
insert probe,
like Echo does. You know, Echo's got the probe, where he's got like the robot hand, which I like the pun with that. When he got the hand, he's like, "Thanks for the hand." Echo's like, "I'm funny, just nobody's around to hear me say it." Now, I know there's also theories too that we might have saw Echo, or not Echo, like I always do that. We would have saw Tech come back maybe, and that like one of like these retrained or reconditioned clones that they fight here at the end would have
zombies.
Maybe sort of. I mean, which that's why it could have even fit that it was Tech. What did either of you think that Tech would come back in some way, and like they would have had like a thing of?
I wonder.
Like because I felt like that was maybe something they're setting up too, because they were really focusing on one of those reconditioned clones in particular, and I thought it was gonna be him. It wasn't.
No.
Tech's dead. He fell at the end of season 2 and he died.
And he's gone. Yeah.
Can't turn him on and off again to restore him either.
They found his goggles though.
So they must have they must have looked for him.
Yeah.
And
or someone did.
If his goggles were that effed up, I hope that they didn't find
Face
him.
thirst.
Yeah.
Because I don't know
Right
how
under a
far
rock.
I don't know how far he fell.
Pretty
He
bad
just fell like
condition.
into the abyss of the fog.
He broke his fall with his eyeball.
God. That's how you.
You
That's
think
how you
they
get green.
found that out of him too?
That's how you get blue and green milk. You just throw tech off
caution
of
to the wind.
a moving train that's suspended up in the air, and when he hits the ground, put out your
Luke
cup.
slurps him up.
Yep.
That's
But
Luke
not a red
drinking
Solo
tech.
cup. It's a green green bottle. But yeah, like I like that they kept referring back to tech though in this season. Like like Omega was gonna leave his goggles at like on the Shrine of Pabu when they were basically not gonna come back there, and then you see the goggles again on her dash. So I like that he's like living on in different ways there too, and then like even Crosshair like brings him up at that one point, which I didn't finish my thought on that. It was I like that Crosshair was he was essentially going to give himself like basically suicide mission it to allow Wrecker and Hunter to go get Omega and get out of there because he's basically trying to take penance for what he had done.
I expected him to die.
Yeah,
100% thought that was going to happen.
I was so glad that Hunter and Wrecker put the smack down on that idea. And just
Like,
we're
no.
staying together. We're staying together. I that worked for me. What did you guys think?
Yeah, that was the only scene like in the finale that kind of like hit me pretty hard. Like I was like, oh man, this like I think Crosshair definitely had the better had the best overall arc from season 1 here to the end of season 3.
I mean, did Wrecker have an arc?
He likes to smash stuff.
Hunter barely had one, if he had one at all.
Oh, I think Hunter's was more like his whole thing like is essentially like a father arc thing where he had to learn to be like less controlling and let like Omega kind of like make like her own mistakes and like learn things herself. And by doing that, by the end, like that's why he does feel like she's okay to like go off and be by herself on that point. So I like that. That's at least I think what Hunter's arc was by the end of it. But yeah, like Tech had an arc up to when he fell out of the
until he arced out.
Yeah, he literally arced out.
Yeah, literally.
But
oh, sorry, Collins. I know it affected you, and we're just making fun of it.
Well, I mean, we've said this we deflect to actually talk about like our actual feelings about stuff when it becomes hard to talk about things. So that is why if we make more jokes about it, that actually means that we care a lot about it, and that's why we are making the jokes about it. And then like Echo, like the batch became like a smaller and smaller group, especially after Tech died in season 2. But like Echo joined them in that final season of the Clone Wars, and like became kind of like a after the fact Bad Batcher. But then
after the fact Bad Batcher.
Yeah, but then it became like that core group of like. Well, and then even for a while when Crosshair wasn't with them, it was literally just Wrecker and Hunter trying to find Omega at that point. So it was like it was 5 at one point, and then became 4, and then it became 3, and then it became 2. So the fact that actually none of them died besides Tech, like overall, like I
was really surprised. I thought for sure we were going to have some more deaths.
I agreed.
I thought they were going to do it with Wrecker there at the end, maybe. And again, I thought maybe they would have done it with Crosshair there too. I never had any kind of suspicion that they were going to do it with Hunter at all. I never got like that vibe that they do that with him.
I figured if they were going to kill him, they'd all die in some type of crash. Some type of like planned, okay, this is the only way out. This is the only way to save everybody.
Plan 99.
Right.
For
Do
themselves.
Plan 99 again. Do the line from Titanic. It's been an honor playing with you, my friends. And just crash into Hemlock. They kind of did the. I liked that whole standoff there though too with Hemlock, and Crosshair like didn't want to shoot because he's been having the issues. Even like like resting like the gun like on stump, to make the shot. He didn't want to do it because he didn't want to accidentally shoot Omega in the face. He didn't want to do like what happened to Marvin in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. I guess
he shot Marvin in the face.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Margaret. I thought though, because I always thought someone was going to die, I thought that just added to the suspense, which was not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's something that I enjoyed.
It was an added layer.
Yeah.
That when it was A-Team in space didn't have. Like, okay, they're going on this mission together. They're not going to die because it's just that'd be so fruitless and terrible writing. Like, okay, we're going to go steal this money from this person. Oh, Tech died for no reason because we were careless. Like, no, like they made it emotional. They made it count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, well, I mean, that's partly what they were saying to Crosshair too when he was offering himself up, and he had said that Clone Force 99 died with Tech, and be like, don't just assume like it's the same, and they're like, no, we are, we are like Dominic Toretto and everyone else that drives with him. We're family. So.
We don't have Fast and the Furious in space yet.
Fast 9 did have a car in space.
I meant Star Wars.
I was like that they did go to space.
I stopped caring about that franchise 1/8 of the way into Tokyo Drift.
Oh man, they got good after that. I mean, Tokyo Drift is actually
number 5 is my favorite. Yeah.
Just jump to 5 and watch that one.
No.
Yeah. Watch 5 and 7, and you're good.
I'll watch number 1 where they're stealing DVD players.
Well,
watch 1, 5, and 7.
There you go.
That's the trilogy. 1, 5, and 7.
Trilogy.
That's all you need to watch. 1, 5, and 7. Because then you get like the beginning of the arc of like Dom and Paul Walker. I forgot, or Brian, which again is weird that Dominic Toretto named his kid Brian when Brian actually isn't dead in the universe of the things. So it's like, that's weird. Just do the original movie, then Fast 5, and then Fast 7, and then that's your trilogy because you got a beginning, a middle progression of the arc there, and then an ending arc. Because that 7th one, sorry for this Fast and Furious tangent and this HOLDO Maneuver Bad Batch episode, but the 7th one, that is the ending. They didn't need to do any.
They didn't need to do 9 after the first one.
Well, I know, but like 1, 5, and 7.
First one was barely justified.
That's a good cohesive trilogy. Is 1, 5, and 7. I recommend that because then you get like a good arc. Because then your arc is the Brian Dom friendship and arc for that, and then like how that goes through. But anyways,
forward,
onward. That's a different show. So for this final season of the Bad Batch, was there anything we haven't talked about yet, Stanford, that you want to bring up as we're kind of wrapping up and closing out for this episode about the final season of the Bad Batch? Did it live up to the rest of the animated Star Wars shows and live action Star Wars shows? And like where, I guess, kind of, you don't have to give me exactly where you'd rank it, but like, is it near the top of the scale, or is it near the middle of the scale, or near the lower part of the scale?
Well, that's a really good question, Mark. I kind of even though so many of these characters are kind of are in multiple episodes, I kind of group the Star Wars stuff like animated Star Wars and then theatrical Star Wars and then now Disney Plus Star Wars, right? So I still, even though
he's one of them,
they all interact. That's just kind of how I process it in my brain, for better or for worse. I think so. For animated Star Wars, I thought that the Bad Batch was really good. I think my favorite animated Star Wars is still Star Wars Rebels. But
man, everyone's taking shots at me.
Is he? But I liked it. I thought things really came together in this third season, just kind of like what you guys were talking about. So it ended for me in a very satisfying way. Again, shocked that none of them, I mean, basically those four of them made it through, and that Omega's going to go fight the Empire, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, where she said your fighting is over. My fight just started. So that was cool. How about you, Mike? Did everything happen that you wanted it to happen? Or actually, Stanford, where does it rank for you?
So for animated Star Wars, I probably would put it at number 2 after Rebels at number 1, and then I think I'd put the Bad Batch, particularly season 3.
Shots at Clone Wars.
Interesting.
Clone Wars is, don't get me wrong, I think Clone Wars is great. Clone Wars just has way too many episodes.
Well, it's got 7 seasons. Yeah, it is the long. It does have the most.
He wants to do a movie. He's trying to get a movie out of it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Clone Wars has so much good stuff in it, but I think one of the advantages of these other series is just that they've been shorter. It's worked better for me. But anyway, I'm interested in your opinions.
How about you, Mike?
For me, I didn't having not seen Star Wars or Rebels or anything. I can't really say where it ranks in terms of animated Star Wars, but in just TV series Star Wars are also hard for me to rank because I haven't seen them all. I can say it's definitely better than Book of Boba Fett, but that's like stepping on a dog turd and saying you have good luck. It's like, no, you're not really making any good points here. But it was good. It got if they had ditched the A-Team in space from the get-go, it would have been better. I enjoyed it for what it was. I struggled to watch it because of lack of caring until 3 episodes into season 3. So for me, it's like, okay, what was the purpose of this show? And then season 3 outlines that purpose to set up these appearances later on. Before that, it was just like I really had a struggle to care about this show. But I enjoyed it in the end. I'll watch Star Wars any day of the week, no matter what it is. Even Book of Boba Fett. Even Wilford Brimley and the Ewoks, Battle for Endor. Watch that. And as bad as it was still Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Who the hell did I hit?
Let's say you.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of both said too, is like I wasn't like a huge fan of the first season of the show. And then I feel like in season 2 it kind of started defining its like its voice and like what kind of show it wanted to be, and then like and I think at that point they probably already knew that they were just doing one more season after that, so they were kind of already starting to point in that direction. So it's probably maybe why season 2 and 3 feel closer to a piece of with one another than season 1 does, where season 1 kind of feels like a cameo fest for that first season, where like in season 2 and 3 they're just kind of like more like it's more of like a spattering of like, oh look, there's Cad Bane in this episode, but doesn't mean you're gonna see somebody else in the next episode. But whereas like season 1 was like, hey look, it's Cad Bane, hey look, it's Kanan, hey look, it's Fennec Shand, hey look, it's this character, hey look, it's this character.
Yeah.
I think Hera was in season 1. So it's like you had all of these other characters from
nostalgia isn't storytelling. It's just a way to get someone excited for a blip.
I guess was kind of just maybe like table setting more for like to give you like a very defined time, like placement of time with where these certain characters are at the same time as some of these other characters we know from other shows. But kind of like with like what Gustavo said there too, and like what I've been saying is that like with any of these shows, like they kind of start at like one age demographic, and then as each season of the show goes on, it kind of ages up to the next kind of bracket of that age demographic. So like, especially like Stanford, like if you started like season 1 of Clone Wars, by the time you get to like the final season of Clone Wars, that's like the same thing as like if you watch like the Harry Potter movies for like Sorcerer's Stone to Deathly Hallows, it's like that same kind of thing. Or like Rebels is even like that too. Like Ezra in that first season is very, very much more like Aladdin-esque, and then by like the final season, he's like, you know, like the hero of like the story. I mean, Aladdin's the hero of the story in Aladdin, because that's why it's called.
It's
Aladdin.
Just funny timing how outside conversations we've had, just specifically today, 5 hours ago or so, we were having a chat with the Trek Wars gang there, Aspen and Kenny made a good point. People hold back on the plot because it's a stall tactic, because they're scared or don't know where to go. And I feel like that's how this was approached.
At least in season 1,
They're just like, okay, let's just do all this cool shit, and maybe people will be like, oh, this is a great show, instead of just getting to the point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and when you have an end destination in, like, you know where you're driving to, then you can have more of an aim of where you're lining yourself up on the road or the map at that point to be able to make it to that destination. Whereas like, oh, look, there's a ball of yarn, we'll go over there. Oh, hey, let's check this out. That seems cool.
I forget who taught it in one of the many writing classes I've taken. I think it was Brad Corbismeyer, if you remember him, from Oswego.
Yeah.
I think it was him. The lesson was write your beginning, then write your ending, and figure out how to get the two together. That's just something someone in some class I took, I think it was Brad, said, and I was like, so that's whenever I write something, okay, this is, I try to get the ending sooner than later and then try and figure out how to get there. It drives me insane, but it also helps you focus, because otherwise you'll have 500 pages of rambling. So.
Yeah, and with that, I wonder if we will see Omega in anything else. I do hope that they do another animated series soon, and I hope that that one is set in this time period, between like the same kind of time period that like Mando and Ahsoka are in, where it's like that period between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, because there's not a lot of
the great dark spot.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff in that 30-year time gap. Like they could do it past the events of like Mando and stuff. So it's like, I don't know, like 15 years deep into like that intermediate area, because I know like Mando's supposed to be like roughly maybe 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and I know like all those like Ahsoka and stuff like that are all supposed to be like around that same time. I mean,
they're already putting the Rebels gang in Mando, so maybe in the next season or movie of Mando will have an Omega appearance.
Yeah, well, because
Hera will need help doing something.
Yeah, they have the Heir to the Empire movie coming down the pipeline. So yeah, maybe we'll see a live action Omega in that. Maybe she'll be wearing an Omega watch.
We already
just
have
like James
live
Bond.
Action Omega. That's live action Omega right there.
Right there.
Just have the marionette come in and be like, "Hey Ezra, hey, what's up? What's up? How are you guys?
And she even has a song.
I think it'd be,
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome
Her-
if instead of live actioning all these people, they just put in their animated character amongst. Who's to say there's not an alien race that's this style of animation?
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny that you're even bringing up the Team America thing, because the whole production animation design for Clone Wars, like the original, like why they're shaped and like designed the way that they are, is based off of the Thunderbirds marionette TV show,
Right.
which is what inspired Team America. So it's kind of like a funny cyclical nature
Right.
that's, I mean, that's probably why she reminds you of that, because like they showed up in the Clone Wars first, so they
I
kind
believe
of had
there's
to
a
stick
saying
sort of
that
close to that design.
Kenny likes to use here to go back to Kenny.
It's like
poetry.
It's they
It
rhyme.
rhymes.
But that seems like a good spot to wrap this episode up. So, Stanford, where can people find you online besides here in this live episode?
I've got a movie podcast and blog at moviespastandpresent.com, and follow me on Instagram. My feed is movies at PAP, as in past and present.
Nice. And then Mike and you can find us here on the Hold a Maneuver. You can find me with Stanford Animation Fascination as well. And you can find, again, me and Mike on the Richmond Way, too, if you feel like Ted Lasso. But yeah. But as always, we are grateful to George Lucas for creating the Star Wars universe.
Oh dear, thank the maker.
Bye. Bye.